Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. I'm John and this is gonna be my review of a very large and rather good knife, the Bestech Swordfish. But before I start the walkthrough or the review of the knife, I just want to apologize for having stood you up for quite some time. Unfortunately, I had an infection in my jaws, and it took about 14 days before we found out that there was a tooth that was very infected. We have removed, or I got the offender removed and shot repeatedly, and hopefully in a little while I'll be able at least to eat something other than fluent food, but at least I can talk again. So I'll start out with this knife, and this is a Bestech Swordfish, as I already mentioned, and I grab my coffee. At least I can drink some coffee. Cheers. And let's have a look at this rather nice knife. Starting at the blade, very long blade. This is about 10 centimeters. I'll put the inches in the text. And as we can see, I'll try to catch the light here. Sort of a saber grind at drop point, but a saber grind, and the switch up here, and flat grind. Rather thin behind the edge. I can tell you today I used this for prepping our dinner, and it is a very nice slicer. It does a great job. It doesn't split, it cuts and it slices, and it slices onions and tomatoes and whatever, and that's a beautiful thing. Further, satin finish, just polished after the last grinder belt, and a little logo, or not that little, but still a little logo on this side, and on the other side talk about a little bit of billboarding. This is the Swordfish, and it even has the model number, and it even has the steel designation. So I guess all I need now is, would have been blade length and perhaps handle length, then it would be a much easier life as a knife reviewer. The blade steel is D2, and on top we have a bit of jimping, very nice jimping. If you go towards the handle, it doesn't offer that much resistance, but in the other direction it's quite coarse. Not that it tears your finger up, but it has a bit of a ramp, and it offers quite a lot of resistance, so that's a nice thing. And we can just take a look at the pivot tab, which is rather skeletonized, which is of course just a sort of a thing for the eye, but still looks quite nice. And moving on to the handle, as we can see, this is a 2-color handle. And then we have the logo pivot, backside of the pivot. Unfortunately, free spinning, which is not a great thing, but on most of the Bestech knives, that I have come across, I have at least one more for review in a coming video. I experience that you can just hold it with your finger, and then you can actually both unscrew and screw it on afterwards when you're finished maintaining your knife. But still, free spinning is not the best. And then we have the hardware here, and what we can see is that the handle, these two colors, the handle is actually, or the scale is actually split in two here. It's not like it's just a coloring, it is split in two, and the reason I know this is because I took it apart. And further down, a lanyard hole, a bit of chamfering at the bottom here, and a bit of chamfering for the lock bar down here. Pocket clip, rather deep carry, not ultra deep, but rather deep carry. Unfortunately not room for a lot of material in my usual work pants, which are rather thin, no problem, but in a pair of jeans, not enough room for this pocket clip, and it seems to me that this is a growing problem. We really need some pocket clips with some more place for materials, but I guess not a big thing. I usually float the knife in my pockets, but if there is a pocket clip, it should be functional, right? And of course, also the same kind of hardware on this side. Torx 8 screws, or a screw on the pivot, or Torx 8 bit used on the pivot, Torx 6 on the other screws, and on the pocket clip as well. Forgot to mention there's a bit of a sharpening choil here on the edge, which is a nice thing, of course. And I also forgot to mention this, why this font. It looks, it just doesn't look good. I will choose another font, please, Bestech, or even a smaller, or perhaps just the one you used on the other side. It is rather dull, boring. I'll just make it focus. A little bit bland and boring, I think. Do something with that if you're going to write the name. Then we have a backspacer, about a third of the knife. If I look inside the liners, it's difficult to see for you, I guess, but it is gelatinized inside, so for some weight saving. And length of the handle is 12.5 centimeters, which makes the overall length of the knife around 23 centimeters, 22.5. And let's move on to the fit and finish. This is very nicely rounded off, and as I said before, you can see this is a two-tone color, and I actually thought that this was just some sort of coloration in the G10, but this is a split scale, and they fit so nicely. You can't feel it's absolutely flush with each other. You can't feel anything from going from the one scale to the other, and that's on both sides. Really a nice job, and you can hardly see it on top here either. And the liners are flush with the scales, and the backspacer is flush with everything as well. This is really a nice fit and finish, and I still search for sort of hotspots in this, but I haven't found anything yet. I have to admit, this is very good fit and finish. Lock up. Let's try and shut it up, open it up and have a look. It's about 20-25%, which is quite enough for me. And censoring, let's try to put it in focus. Absolutely perfect, I can see. No issues there. And then we come to another amazing thing. The action is simply stellar on this one. It flies out with authority. Of course, it's a heavy blade. It has strong detent. This one won't fly out unless you want it to. And it has that snappy action because of a very crisp detent. Some might find it a little bit too hard, the detent, but to me it's just about right, to the strong side, but definitely right. Rather a stronger detent than a soft detent in my book anyway. This one won't open unless you want it to, and just try to keep it in the frame. It drops shut by itself. but in that sort of hydraulic way. Which we all like. It just doesn't fall like a guillotine, but it drops more like a hydraulic, and that is a beautiful thing. This is like all on glass, to be honest. I can't explain smoothness in many other ways. This is just an amazingly smooth knife. It is, of course, on bearings, of course, because that gives that action. And just very quickly, a size comparison. The Ontario Red one, as we can see, I hope you can see, smaller, quite a bit smaller. And the Kershaw injection, definitely much smaller than this. This is a 3.5 inch blade, so you can see quite a bit larger. I'm not that familiar with the imperial measurements, but that would be over 4 inches, I think, and which, as I said, 10 centimeters. Let's put them aside. Oh, sorry. I just have to clear my throat. Excuse me. I have a little bit of coffee. This is, I can tell you, overall, a very good knife. Of course, you have to realize that it is a big knife, and of course you have to abide by the rules. You might have to abide by the rules in your country. And I carry it gladly, but it is a big knife. It is also a slender knife, so it doesn't have that big a footprint in your pocket, but be aware, it is a big knife, and it is a bit stabby looking, so if you are in a knife-scared country, think about how you wave it around. Otherwise, a very good EDC knife, and what I would call for middle to heavy EDC. This one could definitely be helpful if you have made a trip to the forest or something. Well, I have been rambling on for quite some time. That has to be it. I just want to hope that for you that you have a pleasant day, and most definitely a recommended knife, the Bestech Swordfish.